So guys, today we are going to tackle the 12 benefits you're going to get once you quit porn, masturbation, and lust for good, okay? Now this is based on my book, as you can see right here, the Effortless Method, which is the book I wrote, and it's unreleased, but these are the ideas and the overall benefits you'll gain based on my experience of coaching hundreds of men, of being free myself, and just overall seeing how it changes your life. A lot of people say, well, of course, like quitting porn can't like drastically change your life. So I do agree to a certain extent, but at the same time, I kind of like disagree because, of course, if you quit porn and you're doing nothing, then nothing is going to happen. Once you really understand those benefits, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to apply them in other aspects of your life, which then is going to have a drastic impact on your life. But also, you're going to learn to apply the same process and the same benefits to other behaviors so that you can quit those other behaviors, and then there's going to be like that compound of benefits that's going to come from eliminating those negative and unproductive things from your life that are also sinful, right? So let's just start off with the first benefit. And look, there's going to be a lot of benefits, so you want to stick around, and these are not just like wishy-washy benefits, these are real benefits. Okay, so the first benefit is creativity. Okay, creativity. You know, when like you're bored, you have nothing to do at all, you're just daydreaming, you're just waiting for something exciting to happen, what happens then is you always find a way to do something that's almost all of the time productive or meaningful. So for example, I remember just being in my car and I was driving for 1 hour 30 straight. I had no music, no distractions, just me and my thoughts, right? At that time, I was doing sales, okay? That was the job that I had. I was working in sales. I started just reflecting. I was like, maybe me pursuing sales is not the best thing. I was like, man, I haven't had any meaningful results, and I feel like maybe if I were to pursue coaching instead, I would have better results. I'll be able to pursue something that's meaningful to me. And so that day, I literally made the decision to go and really go all in into my coaching, and I made a plan so that I can really succeed. And guess what? Now I'm living literally my dream life because of that one idea, because of that one reflection. And it would have probably never happened because I would have never had the time to reflect. So what happens is when you're bored, you naturally are forced to do things that will be outside of your comfort zone. That's the biggest benefit you'll ever get. You'll literally think of, well, look, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, and at the same time, I have these goals. Maybe it's to get married and have many kids. Maybe it's to build a successful business. So you're like, what can help me in terms of that goal so I can achieve it sooner? And you'll think, well, look, maybe I should learn martial arts so I can learn to defend myself. That's going to be an important trait when it comes to me being a father or me being a husband. Or business-wise, maybe it's time for me to travel to that country where I can meet better entrepreneurs. So maybe let me take the risk, even though it's going to be financially risky. And then that's how growth happens, okay? So that's the first benefit. Now, second benefit is going to be tied a little bit again to overall you being a bit more bored, okay? And that is risk-taking. Such an underrated skill. Let me tell you, I've took risks in my life and let basically God, do the rest, right? Because I didn't know if it was even going to happen. So for example, I remember being in Japan, and just Japan in itself was not something I was even supposed to do because it made no sense, right? I was in Bali just before that for 40 days and I had a perfect routine. Everything was going smoothly, and then I just took a last minute flight to Japan to explore Japan for 2 weeks. When I was in Japan, I got invited to go to South Africa, but I had to put like a lot of money down to pay for the flight because I was far away and to pay for accommodation. And guess what? That decision was so much on my mind. It was stressing me out. I was like, should I do it or should I not do it? I was like feeling fear. I was like, if I don't do it, I'm going to miss out on these things. But if I do it, I might miss out on potentially better things. Look, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to do it. And I took the risk. And let me tell you, I actually lost money in the process. And it was actually a negative overall experience. But I learned so much that now I am where I am today because of that experience, because of those lessons and failures. But here's the thing, it also allowed me to live more of like an interesting life because I'm taking those risks. There was a study that they done where they essentially put people like in a room with nothing to do at all. But there was one lever in front of them, one button that if they were to click on, it would give them an electric shock, which was obviously painful. And guess what happened? Most of the participants actually clicked on that button to get an electric shock, and a lot of them multiple times. What does that tell us? It shows that like when we're bored, we're going to do something so that we feel something, right? And that's the power of not being distracted, of being bored, okay? You're going to be willing to feel something and risk. As a man, I believe it's in our natural predisposition to just want to do things that are risky or maybe a bit dangerous, as we know that they will provide us with a sense of adrenaline, but also we know that on the other side of risk, deep down, that there's potentially the goals that you're looking to achieve, right? If I go and take that risk of, for example, doing something I'm scared of, like let's say I have to do a public presentation and the risk is I get laughed at because I'm not good at public presentation. Well, I know that if I do those succeed from taking on that challenge, that I'm gonna grow so much and it might open up opportunities for me to be more successful in my day-to-day. Now, third, okay, is hunger. I talk about this benefit all of the time to my students. It is my favorite of them all, okay? Have you ever had what people call motivation, but like for multiple days, multiple weeks, or multiple months in a row, where it's like you just want to go to the gym, you just want to work on whatever project that there is in front of you, you just want to learn more about your faith, you just want to just work hard and push yourself? Well, you definitely will increase your chance of having that feeling on a day-to-day basis if you do quit porn and masturbation. Because again, that comes from you removing a distraction. And because you remove that distraction, you have time to think about the why behind why you do things. So for example, if I'm going to the gym, okay, and I'm not distracted, right? I'm just there with my thoughts and I start thinking about like, if I lift this weight right now, that means I'll be stronger and I'll be a better role model once I become a father. Or maybe I'll be able to attract a woman for marriage. Or maybe I'll be able to be a leader for those in my community so I can teach them and be a role model for them. Now it's like you get to reflect on the why constantly, and because of that, you're also willing to be more intense. And that's where results can just explode, because you're not just consistent because you want to do it on a day-to-day basis, but you're also willing to do more. Okay, so hunger is such a huge one. It's literally the reason why, personally, okay, I wanted to just quit porn and masturbation forever. Initially, a few years ago, I was like, man, I'm feeling like I just want to go and wake up early in the morning and just crush the day. I love that feeling. I love the feeling of wanting to just do more, right? And I believe as a man, like that's something which we should be feeling often, right? Not saying that you need to be motivated in order to do work. It's just that like having that why and that drive behind doing your simple routine on a day-to-day will allow you to not only really work hard, but get way better results in your day-to-day life. Fourth is as simple as it sounds, but focus, okay? Focus is very, very important, because imagine this, okay? Imagine that you want to write a book or you want to do anything that's hard. And when I say hard, in that context, I'm saying like something that will take a lot of time. Okay, let me tell you, writing my book right here was hard in the sense that it took multiple months to just write the first draft. And so without the focus or without the constant need to get things done as soon as possible and not being able to delay when the end result is going to arrive, you're not really going to build anything that's like too great, right? Because you're not going to be willing to be consistent on a day-to-day basis with something for a long time because you don't see the results yet. Even for fitness, for example, right? I'm right now relatively in good shape. I'm still far away from my dream physique, but I can tell you, okay, that in the beginning, when I was bulking and I saw no results, and then I started a new diet, I got a fitness coach. At first I was seeing results, but I was like, yeah, I mean, it's good. But then as I built momentum after a few months, right? It still took a few months. I started seeing like such a huge amount of progress in a short amount of time. But like I got to that point whilst most people would give up just 2 months in. But for me, let's say it took me 4 months. So it's that, right? Focus is that important, okay? When you don't have focus, when you're not willing to just commit to something long term and play the long term game where, you know, for example, if I go to the gym today and I stick to the gym for 10 years, I'll have a physique, or I'll have a certain health or ability to perform in certain sports that's going to be next level. And that's why focus is very important. Now, fifth is energy, okay? We all heard about energy. Oh my God, you're gonna gain some mystical form of energies once you quit porn. Like, no. Like, it's just simple, okay? You just overall, because you'll remove something which has took a lot of time and mental energy, most importantly, because most of the energy, think about it, right? Most of the energy, of course, like there's the physical aspect where it's like if your body cannot perform right now because you just got done with a marathon, then of course, like there's that aspect. But you know, like the mental energy where it's like you just feel like you can't go for extended period of times without necessarily burning out or being tired, because it's like you're just willing to go and go and go, right? And that's the power of it. So you're gonna just overall be willing to just use more energy, and as you use more energy, it's almost as if you get stronger, as in like you just get more energy because you spend so much energy that you gotta have more energy for next time, because now you're going to spend more and more energy. And so what happens is you almost get unlimited energy as you're constantly active, as you're constantly working, as you're constantly studying, whatever. And that requires energy. So your mind, you can say, will require more energy for next time. And so you have more energy. And it's just like building that momentum, and you just overall feel better on a day-to-day basis. And that goes to my sixth benefit, and that is well-being, okay? So the thing is with well-being is once you really just feel good about yourself, okay, and you just overall know that, okay, you dropped something which is not aligned with your morals and values, with objective morality, what happens is you just know deep down that you're on the right path. And because of that, as a byproduct, you just get a sense of, man, I just feel better about myself. I just feel better because I'm sticking to my word, essentially, okay? And that goes again to the seventh benefit, and that's one which I think a lot of people lack nowadays, and that is simple self-respect, okay? Self-respect, what do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, okay, I say to someone, you know what? I'm going to show up at 7 p.m. Let's say that we were friends and I said, okay, I'm going to show up at 7 p.m. And let's say you don't show up at 7 p.m. It's now 7 p.m. and you look at your watch and it's like, oh, he's not there yet. I'll give him another 5 minutes. Oh, it's 7:10. He's not there yet. I'll give him another 10 minutes. Oh, it's 7:20. He's not there yet. And then it's 8 p.m. and I'm not there yet. What happens in your mind is, look, this guy, can I really respect him? Because he's not even respecting me. If you, for example, say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but then you don't do it, what happens is you kind of like lose that self-respect for your own self. You're like, look, I want to start doing these things that will be beneficial for me. It might be the gym, it might be even quitting porn, it might be even just overall a project. You want to be, you want to have a successful business, marriage, whatever. But it's like, you know, in the back of your mind, you have a past track record of you not showing up, you not being consistent, whatever. It's like you lose that respect for your own self, and then you try to get that respect from other people, and that's where people start disrespecting you because you don't have that respect for your own self. And when you don't have that respect for yourself, you carry yourself differently. You don't have much going on in your life because you haven't really done much, so people are not even interested in you, right? It's not to say that, you know, people are just transactional, but we just can't ignore reality, right? And if you have nothing going on, if you have no respect for yourself, why would other people want to be with you? People want to be with people that have a life that they like living, right? That they have an interesting life that they choose to pursue, and they're not just trying to like chase other people's approval. It's really that simple. I want to still add as the eighth benefit, and that will be just simple self-trust. It goes back to the past track record. If I, for example, build a vision of me in the future, I am married, I have multiple kids and make a good amount of money, I'm close to God, and all of these beautiful things that I want. I have a beautiful house, like a ranch. I live in a farm. I have animals. I have 5 kids. I have a good and a healthy body. Well, if I look at that vision, okay, and I'm like, yeah, I really want that. But at the same time, I know that, you know, when I say something, right, like for example, I say, oh, I'm not going to do this today. I'm not going to do this week. I'm going to do, for example, I'm going to show up 4 times this week at the gym, right? Or I'm going to work on this project and finish it by the end of the month, right? And you don't stick to your word, what's going to happen is you're going to start losing that self-trust. You're going to be like, can I even trust myself? That vision that I have of myself, of who I want to be, is it even real? Why should I even be consistent with with this hard work that I'm putting in every day? Because I'm not even going to stick to my word. So I don't even know if I'm going to achieve this. But on the flip side of things, the moment you start being consistent with your word and you stick to your word, you gain that self-trust to the point where it's like, you know that vision, you'll achieve it one day or the other. You know that. Of course, God is going to take care of that result, but you have that self confidence that I'm going to be in a very good position because I'm sticking to my word. And I know that if I say I'm going to do this by the end of the month or this by the end of the week, it's going to be done. The same way with porn. If you say I'm not going to watch porn and then you watch porn, what happens is boom, it breaks. It breaks every single time. Okay. It's really that simple. A benefit which is very, very important, and that's simply spiritual growth. Okay. And that just comes like very, very naturally for people, because here's what happens. If you have time to reflect, I think that human beings will just find God if they have time to reflect. The problem that we have within our society is we spend so much time distracted. And we spend so much time distracted. And because we don't have that much mental capacity to think, or that time to self-reflect, what happens is we just follow the crowd and we never really get to be aware of what we're actually doing and really reflect on the deeper meaning of life. It's really that simple. You know, for example, when you face those hardships and then you sit in silence and you're like, man, I'm really like in trouble right now. It's these moments where it's like, because you're not distracted and you're just sitting there with your thoughts, that you get closer to God, right? And so that's one of the benefits that you'll definitely experience. And of course, that's probably the most important benefits of this list right now. Now, benefit number 10, and that would be as simple as time, okay? You got to realize, okay, and I'll make a video on this on my second channel soon, but when you are trying to achieve certain levels of success, and that doesn't just mean in terms of career, business, and that can just be improving yourself in different aspects of life, you realize the importance of really scheduling your time properly. You know that just having an extra 30 minutes can mean literally you learning one thing that will change the trajectory of your life. So for example, if you have an extra 30 minutes per day, you can learn a language with just 30 minutes per day. You can literally learn a language. With an extra 30 minutes per day, you can read a book, maybe a book every 2 weeks, and learn something which you can then coach people about. With just an extra 30 minutes per day, you can record videos like these, and that can change drastically the trajectory of your life. And let alone just like having 30 minutes to just think and reflect, where you can think of the greatest ideas, you can think of the problems that you need to solve right now, as well as the things that you need to improve, and then immediately take action on those things. You just overall get so much just based on that benefit, and that is called time. Now, 11, deeper relationships, okay? And again, this comes down to the simple concept of once you remove a distraction from your life, well, you don't have things to escape, right? You don't have something which you can just like hide behind, right? You don't have that anymore. And so what happens is you're like, oh, you know what? I don't have the best relationship with that person. Or maybe you realize because you have more of that time, you're not distracted. You're like, that person is so important to me. I remember like they done this to me. They helped me with these things. Let me go and buy them a gift. And then boom, the relationship gets better instantly. Or maybe let me send that person a text. Let me be a bit uncomfortable and share my emotions. Like, that person really helped me, man. Like, I really appreciate that person, right? And that's where you can essentially build better things, and let alone just being able to focus and not be constantly distracted by lust or distracted by your own thoughts and shame. So you're not really present with that person. And we all know that being present and be talking to people with full focus, well, essentially like your listening skills are very, very important when it comes to building relationships with people or influencing them. And then 12, okay, is gonna sound cliche and maybe even cringe, but I'll just say masculinity, okay? And that just really comes down to you overall not having a plan B, not having a very shitty plan B, right? Because it's not even like an alternative. This is just you escaping the world. When we look at tribes and some of their rituals, we see that sometimes they will be willing to put the kids in, for example, harsh conditions where they had no escape, right? So there was a tribe in, I believe, Canada or America, and they would put the children in the wilderness and they will have to learn to survive. look, they don't have a plan B. They can't just go on social media and just escape because they feel scared. No, they have to do it. And guess what? The growth that comes from that is immense. Like the man, like this is literally a rite of passage to become a man. They go from a kid to a man just because of that. And essentially, that's what happens once you remove porn and masturbation, and you get all of these benefits. Okay. So guys, if you really want to learn how to quit porn, masturbation, and lust, so that you can live your dream life, you can then get married, have a family, build a successful career or business, and overall be a better leader, a better role model, remove that over-sexualization, that lust, feeling that you're living a double life from your life. Well, click the link down below. I have a community right now only for the month of September. I'm going to give one-on-one coaching session, as well as a personalized blueprint and a personalized video for a very cheap price. Okay, I'm only doing this for that month. This is something that usually only people that pay for the one-on-one coaching program would get access to, but I'm doing this just for this month of September. So go and click the first link in the description down below, and I'll see you guys there.